This one fits perfect. Oh yeah, I gotta check the space on the second one. These are the two biggest hole sets that they make. Fits absolutely beautiful. Now I gotta see if the other one is gonna fit the same.
Amazing. So now
each one of these is good for about 550 horse, so there'll be enough airflow for 1100 horsepower. I mean, it's stupid to make just that kind of power, but it's so easy to make 300 horsepower per rotor, and you got 3. So
and a supercharger, so you have no lag, right?
Right, exactly. Exactly. The supercharger is here.
0 lag.
From the little Mercedes CLK or SLK or whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a clutch, like an air conditioning clutch. You know?
Right.
And you engage it when you want to, and when you release it when you want to. The drive pulley
that is one big ass intercooler.
That pulley is 3.8 times the diameter of the compressor pulley, which means that I'm overdriving it almost 4 to 1. So the critical speed of this blower is 16,000 RPM. That's when it's going to come apart. So the idea here, that pulley's going to be right there, and it'll go around with an idler here, just like the power steering used to be, around the supercharger, around the air conditioner, and back around. So basically, as soon as I have about 5% throttle input from idle, at idle, the clutch will disengage. That way there's no drag on the engine. The slightest throttle input, somewhere between 4 to 5, 6 degrees, whatever feels best, it'll engage the clutch, and then you're going to have boost, positive displacement boost, which is, you know, blowers work on a different principle. They give a specific amount of cubic feet per minute of air per revolution. This particular blower here puts out 61 cubic feet of air per revolution, which means that at just off idle, with this pulley driving at 4.5 times, well, 3.8 times, 4 times, I'm gonna probably right off idle have about 5 pounds of boost. Okay, and basically the critical speed, the burst speed of the blower is 16,000 RPM. So
you wouldn't want to go over what, 4,000
yeah,
RPM?
You don't want to go over 4,000.
But by then your twin turbo setup is
I actually calculated it at 3,000. I'm sorry, at 4,200. The blower will be at 14,700 RPM, just enough to give myself a cushion to disengage it. And then
how is it disengaging though? Manually or automatically?
No, it's got a clutch, just like an air conditioner. You know, you have an on-off switch.
But isn't that? I mean, if you go over 4,000 RPM, you're going to blow the damn thing up, right?
Exactly.
So, so you're like holding it like a nitrous bottle or something?
No, I'm disengaging the clutch. This is a clutch.
You know what I'm saying? How are you going to activate it and deactivate it? Like with a button?
You program it into the computer.
Ah, so it's automatic.
All computers have drive outputs.
Gotcha.
For on or off.
Yeah.
Even your most basic Microtech has 2 outputs, and they're 12 volt.
Don't you need nitrous 2 on this thing?
No.
Come on, why? You got turbo
nitrous is the worst thing you could ever do to a rotor engine, man. Anyway, by 4,200 RPM, it'll disengage, and by that time, those turbos will be blowing massive amount of air. And then I have a both the turbochargers and the blower are going to dump into the top tank of the intercooler. Then it's going to go down, and then the bottom tank of the intercooler will go underneath the air conditioning compressor and into the intake system, the throttle body.
So you're not going to have a long.
Oh no! The distances are going to be, you know, that long.
Like what you're doing on the RX-8, that
Exactly.
instantaneous throttle response system.
Exactly. And then I have these.
We just coined a term there, the ITRS, the instantaneous throttle response system.
I have these.
That's a CLR proprietary technology.
Wafer valves that are used. They're real high tech. They're used for. They're used in the pasteurization industry. They're designed in Switzerland, and they basically it's like a trap door. Go boom, boom, and they act. They move open or closed with a pressure differential of 0.6 of 1 pound. That means that if there's 0.6 of 1 pound of boost on one side versus the other, they'll either open or close. So I'm going to have one on the blower side that as soon as it stops, I disengage it. Obviously, there's got to be a blow-off valve also. Okay, it'll dump the pressure from here to the blow-off valve, so they'll close. By that time, there's already going to be boost in this tank, so it's not going to allow the boost to go out of the blower.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And the same valve is going to be on the turbo side. When the blower is running and the turbos are not producing
pressure.
boost, the same thing. They'll be more positive on this end than on this end, so they'll close.
So until that one overcomes the pressure from the supercharger, it's going to be
Exactly.
shut. And then once it opens, this will shut.
Exactly.
So you don't.
So it's not a compound system.
There's not going to be like a hiccup in the
Right. And it's not going to be a compound system where, like Lancia did back when they won the World Rally circuit back in I think it was like the early 70s, and a couple of other companies have tried compounding a turbocharger to a blower by blowing one into the other one. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is using each one independently for their best virtues.
Correct.
You know.
You're not combining them to. But what about the nitrous? What about the high end?
There'll be plenty of high end.
What about the?
We've got this already cooked
the
up.
The need for speed, you know, where the plate rattles out and falls on the ground. And
we already got this hooked up to a Supra V161 gearbox, 6-speed.
Right on.
And I mean, I know that eventually.
Is that the one you make the adapter plate for that you sell on the website?
You can see it here. I mean, just a lot of crap all over the place right now. Just brought this car from storage. We're going to start working on it. But there's the adapter plate. You know, here's where the Mazda block ends. That's the adapter plate, and that's where the transmission starts. And the gear, the shifter comes out exactly dead center where the original shifter for the Mazda transmission sits.
Right.
My only concern right now is whether, because I was using substantially, when I first designed this thing, I was using substantially smaller turbochargers.
Right.
But then I decided to, you know, take it up a notch.
The 500 horsepower Miata lit a fire under you, huh?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be getting that back. He said this weekend.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
We got to take it down to Homestead and run it on the track with a bunch of GoPros.
First I got to put it on the dyno and show everybody
that it's actually 500 horsepower.
Yeah, exactly. How sweet it is.
Yeah, and I think at 18 pounds of boost that first time me and George drove it, we were definitely feeling about 400 or 500. What's that?
Look at this shit, man. fucking turbocharger fits absolutely perfect.
You are either the luckiest person I've ever seen.
I did this by eyeball. I did this by eyeball with a different turbo that had a similar size, but the spacing was different. And I was concerned that it was going to hit the strut tower. But I've got room up the yin yang. Look at that. Too bad I don't have two of these so I can hang the other one in its position. The downpipes are already done. I did that, you know, years ago. But that one goes there. Come on, stay. And this one goes here. Right there.
There's no...
The outlet of that one is here. So I'm gonna have to do a little slight bend to come over. It's just like nothing, man. Actually, you know what? Let me get a magic marker so I can mark. This is the exact same turbocharger that we're using in the RX-8 project. Only difference is that with the RX-8, I'm going to use the stock whole set turbine housing. And on this project, I'm actually using the turbine housing that came on the 3-rotor as the primary turbocharger, and then boring it through to accept the whole set HE 451 turbine wheel, which is like a stage 5 T3 wheel. It's larger than an O trim, but slightly smaller than a P trim. It's very, very, very close to a Garrett. I'm talking about within no more than 2 millimeters, one way or the other, I can't remember. A Garrett GT35. That turbocharger makes a solid 400 horse on a very mildly ported 13B by itself. The turbine wheel can handle the flow. It's just that the compressor is a little bit on the shy side to make 450 horse. That compressor though can make 550 horse all day long. Now I chose to go with that one instead of the HX series because the turbine wheel is slightly smaller, so it would increase my AR ratio by a few points, of a few tenths of a full point. So in essence, each turbine wheel is going to be handling the exhaust flow of 1 1/2 rotors. You see what I'm saying? That's why I can get away with running this turbine wheel inside that housing.
Now, do these turbos both come on at the same time, or is it?
Yeah. The turbos are on at the same time, and the beauty about it, I mean, it's a 3-rotor, which puts out, it's 50% more motor than a 13B. So, but the beauty about it is that each turbo is only handling the exhaust flow of 1 1/2 rotors. So the back pressure, rather than 2 rotors. So the back pressure is reduced dramatically. And then that'll make them spool up really quick. On top of that, we're gonna have the blower, you know, kicking it in the butt from the slightest throttle opening. So, yeah, I can't wait to have this thing done. This has been a long time project that I've been playing with, you know, on and off for a few years, and finally was able to bring the car over because of that hurricane that never hit, thank God. Made a room for it. I've actually chopped off the supports of the fenders, like on this side. I still have to do this side, and basically going to off this chunk of metal. Which inches. Tight fit. It's 4.5 inch by a full 3/8 piece of stainless steel. And we're gonna put a roll bar, much like the drag racing cars do, that will come off the main structure of the chassis around like this, welded onto as close to the strut tower as possible, come out this way, and then right into the frame. The drag racers do it like that because it's really essential that the front end is very stable, you know, with their rate of acceleration. The reason why I chose to do it was because anytime that you put some nice wheels on these cars, some 18s, and you give it the proper ride height and the proper stance, they have a tendency to hit. And these wheels are pretty wide because we're going with a wide body on this car also. So I didn't want the wheels to hit. So the bar is actually going to come right about here. Yeah, right where that hole is at. That's where the bar is going to go, and it's going to go like this, obviously with a proper radius. Welded onto the chassis over here, coming across, and then down into the frame. And that'll give the tire all the travel in the world without touching the bodywork. It's nothing worse than, you know, having something exotic of this caliber and have the tires hit the car. It takes everything away from it.
Supercharged
Has his own dedicated 3-inch down pipe. I already put the one for this one on. This is the other one, and then they both dump into a custom-made Flowmaster box that takes both turbos into a common box with Flowmaster technology inside. I told them about 3 or 4, on the last PRI show that was held in Orlando, Florida, I told them what I wanted to do, and they made it for me. And I've already got it welded with all the flange and everything, and it sits right under the gearbox. We'll put the car up and show you in a minute. But you know, each one of these turbos could easily flow through a 2.5 inch downpipe. But went for the max. I wanna run this thing, like I said, at about 900 horse. No need to take it any higher. Could easily go more. God knows we got the porting configuration and the drag compression ratio. But I mean, these cars, you know, in reality, even with 500 horsepower to the wheels, they're a handful.
That's a fact.
More than a handful. So this is going to be more of a, I'm not going to say a trailer queen because I intend to drive it every single day, but a shop show-off car of what can be done with a little ingenuity. We got a 12 millimeter. So anyway, now that we got the downpipes on, I wish I had another one of those turbos. I don't. I gotta buy one. But I wanted to go home for Thanksgiving and be able to give thanks about something. Yeah? I mean, I really, it was an eyeball job, but I was really afraid it wasn't gonna fit. But fitting just fine. Oh, baby. Yeah, beautiful. Now we're slightly below the top of the compressor housing on the front turbo, which means that right here I'm going to have to come up a little bit and then go forward. The other option would be to flip it around. Actually, let me secure that turbocharger. Alright, that turbo's not going anywhere. Okay. I hope I can get the housing in there. Could put the housing coming straight up. No, actually I can't. But, let's see. No, I can't. I'd have to shave the housing some. And I really don't feel like doing that. Not only that, it looks better.
Yeah, going down.
Going down. Oh, baby.
Sweet.
That's just like almost too good to be true. Here's the line of the other compressor housing, which is out here. So, actually it's down here. So here we're gonna have to come up a little bit and then back over this way like that. Like that. 2 slight S's. No big deal.
Well, it's gonna be a beast.
Yeah. The only thing I really haven't figured out is what the hell I'm gonna do for air filters.